Hi, everybody. This is Sam with the Teton Literacy Center, and I am so happy that you've found this video and have come here to join me for a virtual tutoring strategies training for returning volunteers. Once again, my name is Sam, and I want to remind you right now that if you have any questions whatsoever at the end of this video, please call us at our office or give one of us at the TLC an email. Our phone number is 1-307-733-9242. Okay, thank you so much, and let's get rocking and rolling. So before we get going, I just wanted to provide you with a little overview of our agenda for this video. We're going to begin by talking about some of the modifications in our weekly structure. So when you'll expect to tutor each week and what those tutoring sessions will look like in terms of just a time frame. Then we're going to discuss what are the expectations and guidelines that we have for both you as the tutor when you're tutoring on Zoom and our students. And then the real nitty-gritty of this video is providing you with a quick overview of some of the essential tools in order to utilize both Zoom and Google Classroom. And after we discuss that, we'll then provide you with an example of what virtual instruction looks like, and then share some resources with you. And lastly, just provide you with some contact information if you do have any questions, and to recognize different ways that you'll be supported throughout your tutoring year. So to start, the really huge transition that we all have made for those that might be familiar with Teton Literacy Center tutoring is that all of a sudden we are doing things within a virtual context. So I'm going to use some analogies here, and hopefully that will frame our big transition from a physical medium to this virtual medium that we are now using. So Zoom really is your tutor room. So those that came to the TLC in the past, you'd walk in the front door and you'd walk back to your tutor room. It was a physical space where you could meet with your student. Now, since we are doing things online and through Zoom, Zoom is going to be that tutor room. It's the space where you meet your student. Additionally, you would walk in, you go to that back hallway, and you find a tutor box. And that tutor box would be full of all the materials, including a lesson plan and any other fun gadgets and gizmos that we might have for your tutoring lesson of that week. So rather than going to that back hallway and grabbing that tutor box, what you're going to get now is a Google Classroom assignment. And your tutor coach each week will send this to you, and you will get a notification in your email. So those are the two big changes that we're going to work through today: how to use Zoom and how to use Google Classroom. So similar to last year, once you let Carissa know what your preferences are of a day that works best for you, you will have a tutor coach. So Monday to Thursday, we have a different TLC staff member who will be your tutor coach. They'll be the one that's coordinating your tutoring session and providing you with your weekly lesson plan. On that tutoring day, something unique to this year is that we will be hosting office hours. So from 2 to 3:15, if you're feeling slightly uneasy about the tutoring plan, or maybe have some questions about Zoom, you can pop into our virtual office hour session, where you can ask us any questions that you would like. On that day, it's a good thing to keep in mind here, your tutor coach will be leading a small group. You will not be a part of that in any way whatsoever. But at 5 o'clock is when your virtual tutoring session will happen. And something unique to this year is that everybody, all tutoring pairs, join on that day at that time. Okay, so everybody at 5 o'clock will be joining a Zoom session. What that session will look like is from 5 to 5:15. It's kind of this fun moment where all of the tutors and all of the students are joining into one meeting. I don't know if you've ever joined a Zoom session before, but everyone just gets in one space, everyone's these little thumbnails. And what we will be doing during that time is just providing you all, as your tutor coach, with a little bit of direct instruction. We'll give you a mini lesson of some tools and tips and tricks of how to make these short and sweet sessions that you now have with your student as impactful as they possibly can. So from 5 to 5:15, people are joining. We're providing you with some direct instruction. And then after that mini lesson is finished, what will happen then is you will then be broken out into a breakout room on Zoom. And these breakout rooms are your virtual tutoring room. And when you're in there, you'll use your lesson plan and you'll work through this following progression. You'll typically start with a warm-up. It might be a writing prompt. It could be an icebreaker activity. And then you'll have a little bit of word work. And then we'll have some electronic reading materials where you can work on your students' reading comprehension, fluency, and maybe an additional writing activity. So for that 5 to 6 p.m. time window, when you are meeting with your student in your breakout rooms, we do have a short list of expectations that we ask to hold yourself accountable to. First and foremost, the biggie here is that you need to be on an electronic device that has access to Zoom. All right, so we can't be using any of those outdated Mac towers from the 1990s. It has to be able to run the most current version of Zoom. Secondly, we're asking that you have a Google account. Therefore, we'll be able to share you your lesson plans via Google Classroom. On our end, we're going to be the ones that host the Zoom meetings and that coordinate any communications between you and your pair. So please make sure you're holding us accountable to that good communication. The other things are really about being respectful and decent, right? Showing up and making sure you're appropriately dressed. You know, you can get by with quite a bit on Zoom video, but at least whatever's in the screen, make sure that it's something nice, a sweater, a t-shirt, whatever that might be. Another big thing is that you are in a place where you can focus. Often within our houses, if we're in the kitchen, there might just be a lot going on there. So we ask you to be in a place that isn't going to distract your student or you. And then the other big thing, you can read through these other bullet points, is that if you cannot make a Zoom session at 5 o'clock on your tutoring day, try to let us know as far in advance as possible. That would be greatly appreciated. Now for your student, it's basically the same idea. We're making sure that they're on a device that can run Zoom. They have some access to Google Classroom, even though you're really going to be the point person for that. But in terms of being respectful in their behavior, we want to make sure that they're appropriately dressed. They're in a workspace that is quiet, where they can focus and aren't going to be distracted. And we're going to ask them, just like we're asking you, if they can't make a tutoring session, to let us know as far in advance as possible so that we don't waste your time that is so precious to us. So please let us know once you start tutoring if you feel like you're running into persistent problems with your student. Let's say they're on a device that you don't feel is appropriate. We could try to figure that out. They are working in a place that is really distracting to them. We might call their parents and have a conversation with them. So please reach out to us if you feel like some of these expectations are not being met. So the first thing that you're going to have to do to join your Zoom session on your tutoring day at 5 o'clock is you will click on a URL address that will be sent to you by your tutor coach once you have decided on a tutoring day that works best for you. So each week, this Zoom link will remain the same. So you can either save it in a Google Calendar, but each week you'll come in and you'll access this link, and it's known as the Zoom link, and it will take you automatically to the Zoom meeting for your tutoring session. It might prompt you with a passcode, and for every tutoring session, it is a lowercase TLC. So once you have joined a meeting, you'll notice on the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll have a whole row of what are known as the meeting controls. So you'll have mute, stop video, and then for most of you all, you'll have a chat feature and a share screen feature. And those are kind of the 4 functions that we want to discuss today. The first 2 are the mute and stop video. So video on or off is basically decided by whether or not you have this red line striking through the icon. So if you do have that red line going through the icon, you don't have that feature. Therefore, you would be inaudible here, or you would not have a video shown of your wonderful, beautiful face. To turn these features, both your audio and your video, on and off, you simply would go to that command and you would click it. So the next thing that we want to discuss and bring to your attention is the chat box. So the chat feature is really useful because it's another tool that you can use to have your student practice their writing skills. Now, it's not quite writing on a piece of paper, but it still is really good practice for your student. So you can simply chat, you can click on this feature and a window will pop up, and then you can type messages to one another. We might prompt you specifically in your lesson plan with activities that you should do that utilize this function, but just recognize whenever we're asking you to do a writing prompt, it's a tool that you can utilize. So if you want, you can get some practice in right now by pulling up Zoom and just checking out that feature and typing a message to yourself. Let us know if you have any questions about the chat box feature. The biggie that for some of you all, if you've only had very little interaction with Zoom, that we're going to be utilizing in virtual tutoring is this screen sharing feature. So on the command bar in these meeting controls, it is going to be this green icon that has a little box with a red arrow, or not a red arrow, what am I saying? With an arrow pointing up. So what screen sharing is it's the way that your student can see whatever is on your computer screen on theirs. So I like to think as though it provides a window into your life. Whatever you're seeing and you want them to see, they can now see it if you screen share with them. And this is really important in virtual tutoring because we'll be doing lots of activities with electronic books. We might be using some cool gadgets on websites to do word work, and you're gonna have to show them that window into your computer so that they can see it and interact with whatever resource we are asking you to use. So to screen share, and please let us know if you have questions about how to do this, you're gonna click on that green icon on the command bar, and what will then pop up is a window with all the different options of what you can share with your student. So you wanna make sure here that you select the right window to share with them. So if you want to share whatever's pulled up on your Google Chrome, you would click this. If you want to share what's on your PowerPoint, you would click that. But you have to make sure before you press share that it is highlighted in blue. or else they're going to be seeing something that you don't want them to share. Another thing right here at the bottom, and I keep pulling up this, so how can I let you see this better? So right here at the bottom, there are a couple boxes that you can select, and these either make a video that you might be sharing audible to them. So maybe you want to share with them something on YouTube and you want them to dance to it and hear the music. You have to select these icons at the bottom that enable your student to also share that audio component with them. So this is a lot of stuff. It's probably very new to you, this screen sharing feature, and please let us know if you have any questions about it. Another thing that you're going to have access through that screen sharing icon is your ability to utilize the Zoom whiteboard. So the Zoom whiteboard will be accessed by clicking on that green icon again on your meeting controls bar, and then selecting the window that says whiteboard. So you need to make sure that the whiteboard is then highlighted in blue before you press share. When you share it, the Zoom whiteboard will look something like this. And using the whiteboard, you'll be able to draw, you can open up text boxes, you can play hangman. And one thing that's really cool is that you can open it up so that your student can also annotate the whiteboard so that you both can share this space and kind of either you could draw together, you could text together, whatever that might be. A pro tip on my end is that it's been a really fun tool to play hangman. So the last thing on Zoom that I'm going to bring to your attention is our use of breakout rooms. So at 5 o'clock, you're going to join the meeting and you will be brought to what's known as the main session. And in that session, all of the tutors and all of the students will be there. And it would be super hard to have that one-on-one time with your student if we asked you to conduct your tutoring in that virtual space. So Zoom has this really great feature called a breakout room. So after that initial session where we're all together, you will be asked to join what's known as a breakout room. And that will be sent from us, your tutor coach. And when you receive that invitation, you'll press a blue button and you will join that breakout room. That space will then bring you to a place where it is just you and your student. But, and here is the big but, you are not trapped there. You still have our undivided attention, even though we might virtually not be there. If you do encounter a glitch, you have a question, something's just not going well, and you need our help, in that breakout room, there will always be this question icon. And if you click on that, your tutor coach will get a message saying, so-and-so has asked you to join their breakout room, and we will be there to answer whatever question you might have. So those are really the big features on Zoom that you really need to familiarize yourself with. Number one is how to join your weekly tutoring session. Number two is how to adjust your audio and visual settings. Number three is how to use that chat feature to do some writing activities. Number four is using that screen share function. That might be new to some of you all. And within that, how to share Zoom's whiteboard. And then the fifth is if you are in a breakout room, how to get our attention so that we can field any questions that you might have. So a good step now for you all is to open up Zoom if you have it on your computer and just to practice using some of those different commands to see if you can wrap your head around it. And please, please, please let us know if you have any questions after doing that. The other big application we want you to be familiar with is Google Classroom. Google Classroom will be analogous to your tutoring box. It will be a virtual space where you'll be able to access your lesson plan each week and any resources that your tutor coach might ask you to access during your tutoring session. To be a part of Google Classroom, the first thing that you're going to have to do is to share a Gmail account with your tutor coach. If you don't have one, we'd be happy to set one up with you. But the only way to get on Google Classroom is with a Gmail account. So once you have given that Gmail account to your tutor coach, the first thing that you're going to have to do is to join the class. And what this looks like is you will get a notification from Google Classroom on that Gmail that you gave to your tutor coach saying that Sam is asking you to join his Tuesday tutoring class. So you'll open up that email and you'll press join. The big thing here is though, even though it's sent from me, it's not going to be my Teton Literacy address or whomever your tutor coach is. It will be sent by Google Classroom. And sometimes those emails could go into spam. So be sure to check your spam box too. So once you have joined that Google class for your tutoring day, on a weekly basis, you'll get a notification in your Gmail saying that your tutor coach has a new assignment for you. And that's not going to be any graded assignment for you. It will always be your lesson plan. So each week when you get that notification in your Gmail, you can go to your Google class and you will click on the classwork tab where you will then have access to that lesson plan. It will typically be a Google Doc, and it will also include any attachments that your tutor coach wants you to have access to during your tutoring session. So those are really the two big steps for Google Classroom. One, and you'll only do it once, is that you need to join the class. And then the second, on a weekly basis, you will get a notification of that new assignment, and that assignment will be your weekly lesson plan that you'll want to have access to during your tutoring session. If this does not make sense to you all, please, 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 this is something that's probably totally new to a lot of us, how to use Google Classroom. Please reach out to anybody at the TLC. We'd be happy to walk you through these steps.
What do you think this story is going to be about? If it's called Tiger in My Soup, but then the summary says, sometimes it's almost impossible to get your big sister to read your favorite book to you. What do you think this might be about? Any predictions you might have?
Oh, I know.
Yes, Annie?
Your sister to make your favorite soup.
Oh, so you think that maybe I'm going to write, do you see our chat window? So I'm going to write, the sister might make his favorite soup. I like that. Anybody else have a prediction they want to share about just looking at the cover or thinking about the title and then what it says about his sister? Any guesses there? Ryan, are you unmuting yourself? Unmute. What do you think might happen in this story, Ryan?
Probably, they're going to meet.
Him and his sister or the tiger? All right, thank you. And Kelly, do you have a prediction you want to make?
No.
Okay. Ryan, can you read this page for us?
Where?
It says, will you read my book to me?
Will you read my book to me? I ask again. It's about tigers. Big, hungry tigers. My sister doesn't answer. I try something else. I'm hungry. This time she hears me.
Nice job. One more page. What do you think's gonna happen, Annie?
She's gonna not gonna listen to him again.
Yeah. All right. Quiz. Hungry tigers. Do you think we can ace this quiz? Are we all paying good attention?
Yeah, I always
Right.
do.
Start the quiz. Just go ahead and raise your hand if you want to answer. So what was his sister supposed to do? Annie, what do you think? Was she supposed to play outside, look after the house, or make him upset?
Look after the house.
All right, correct.
So that was our colleague Anya doing a really great job of some reading comprehension with some of our TLC students. You might notice that she was trying all these ways to engage her students. She was asking them to make predictions. She was using the cursor to look at words and asking questions throughout the book that they read. Additionally, at the end, there was a little quiz that she utilized just to make sure she was checking for understanding to see how well the students were engaging with the text. You might notice though that within the video, these kids have multiple ways of being distracted during these sessions. And I will say when it's just you and your student one-on-one, they really have been very receptive to your time and energy as we would hope they would. But engagement in the virtual world is really the hardest thing to do. And we will work with you throughout this entire year. And we are learning with you on ways to maximize that engagement within our virtual literacy instruction. I really want to reiterate the fact that this is new. We're only a handful months into this of teaching our students predominantly through a virtual means, and we are learning as we go. But we have come across some resources that are really useful, that we've found super useful, and we want to share them with you. And to do that, what we have done is we have created a little place on our website under this resource tab where you can click on it and you will notice a whole set of pages that are devoted to not only that virtual tutoring curriculum with all of these resources for word work, fluency comprehension, some brain break activities with your student, but also just some of those steps that we already discussed about how to use Zoom and how to use Google Classroom. Additionally, we have a list that's also found on the website right here of some of the best electronic books that we've found. And you can access them through Unite for Literacy, Hoopla, which is through the library, and then Fontes and Pinnell, we have access to their level literacy intervention curriculum. And then some fun word work sites that we found for word sorts, word builders, and then of course, my personal favorite, a place where you can do Mad Libs online with your student and talk about different figures of speech. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to learn a little bit about what it means to be a virtual TLC tutor. We're so honored that you want to volunteer some of your time this year. And we recognize that we're asking you to maybe learn so many new things. And we want to make ourselves available for any questions that you might have. So feel free to email us, give us a call about any concerns or questions you might have based on what you saw in this video. And lastly, just please complete the paperwork you'll receive in a follow-up email from Carissa. And please complete that and send it back in a timely manner. Thank you so much. And we can't wait to see you in one of our tutoring sessions very soon.